especially if lockdown happens again. So I need to like really just show everyone my face virtually. I'm of course wearing a mask when I walk outside, but just like want to highlight my eyebrows walking outside, you know, like being really nice. And Yeah, I I I'm afraid for the winter. Thank you. Someone commented, Alani commented, they do look good. Thank you. I appreciate that. They did not look good like 24 hours ago. This is probably, again, this is the best I'm gonna look for quite some time. Even like going to the grocery store, sometimes when I go to the grocery store, I like I put on like goggles and a mask, and I feel like I'm like ready to go into battle. Like everything just feels so intense, and like doing basic tasks, obviously. Obviously, it's been complicated. I had a very distinct memory from the beginning of the pandemic when people were starting to make cloth masks, but not everyone had them. And what I was using just like scarves I had, and I had like a Palestinian keffiyeh. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this on my face to go to the grocery store. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I feel it looks like I should be throwing a rock at an IDF tank, but I'm just trying to buy some cabbage. Like this is so intense. Why do I look this like intense right now? Um, but yeah, it's wild. We live in a dystopia now, so now it's like fitting to look that intense. So it's great. I hope everyone looks intense, looks great. Um, so I'm going to introduce the first comic for tonight. Uh, I'm very excited to hear her story. She runs her own comedy show. It's called Woman Behind Glass. It is virtual every Friday at 10 p.m. Please give it up for Alani Cooper.
Hello,
Man,
how
all
are
right.
all of you guys? It's so
Woo.
nice to be here. Thank you, Kendra, for having me. I'm going to tell you a story about when I was just a young black homeschooler left alone to my own devices. Okay, so picture this. It is 2007. I am 11 years old. My mom is taking a depression nap. My sister is only 7. I'm in charge. All I wanted to do was play The Sims 2 uninterrupted. It's 2007. What else is an 11-year-old stuck at home gonna do? Apparently deal with any and every crisis that the younger sibling decides to throw my way. So, if anybody here has kids or is the older sibling, you guys know how it is if the house is like too quiet, right? Like I was busy modifying my Sims, drowning the ones that annoyed me and also kind of looked like my mom. Um, just getting, getting into the game. I was into the zone, but I was like, something is off here. I haven't heard anything from the little one in a while. So I went to go investigate. I tiptoed past my mom taking her depression nap on the couch, and I checked my room. I didn't find Faith. I checked the bathroom. I didn't find Faith. That's my little sister, by the way. I'm not like actively looking for Faith. I'm an atheist, but so finally I go to her room. She has managed to tape the family cat to her bedpost. She had a bunk bed, so like she had a lot of like, room to like tape a cat, which is not something that I would think you would do to a cat. I was like, dude, what are you doing to Whiskers? And she was like, oh, well, I'm a pirate today, and you know how pirates have mascots? I just figured Whiskers could be the mascot. I was like, bruh, this is no, this is this is animal abuse. Like this is why we should not be homeschooled and left to our own devices, right? So I'm trying to untape poor Whiskers, and he's making a variety of struggle noises, which is fair. That's what I would do if somebody was ripping duct tape off of me at a excessive rate. I would be panicked and worried. So he's like, I'm like, dude, it's okay, man. I'm gonna get you out of this. I'm so sorry. And he's like, my mom, I guess her mother senses finally kicked in, and she threw open the door and saw me trying to untape the family cat while my sister was busy making her Barbies get like the 5th divorce for that day. And she was like, what are you guys doing? Why is the cat there? Alani, you're in charge. And I was like, I'm 11. And she was like, it doesn't matter. Poor Whiskers. wait until your father hears about this. And I was like, don't tell Bill. Please don't tell Bill. Because it's like, it's bad once your mom finds out, but once dad finds out, it's completely over. Like your life is, it's over, right? So I'm begging my mother, Black Lives Matter, especially over the cat. It's like, please don't tell dad. Whatever, how can I remedy the situation? Um, I didn't know that Faith was going to do this, but since I'm the oldest, all the blame is left on me. Uh, didn't really like that. We were grounded for 6 weeks. I have never been so bitter in my entire life. And just that one incident alone is why I don't want kids. Because it's like, if I can be blamed for someone else's actions simply because I'm related to them, I don't want that. I don't want that responsibility. That seems like way too much for me. So, moving on to a different kind of animal story, I will tell you about Froggate 2016. This time I'm a little older, right? I'm 20 years old. I am going through a horrifically abusive relationship with a white guy who looks like he has never slept in his life. I don't think he did because he did so many drugs. Um, Anyways, I'm getting out of this terrible relationship. I found out that he cheated on me with not just one friend, not two, not three, not even four, but six of my friends, six of my girlfriends, he had managed to sleep with the entire time that we were together. So I was like, well, obviously I have to get revenge. I can't just take this lying down. You know what I mean? I can't take it the same way that I got into the relationship, which was lying down. Anyways, so he had a huge phobia of frogs. Like if he saw frogs or toads anywhere near him, he'd leave the room, right? He'd turn around. He was a 6'4", 200-pound guy and just could not handle the presence of amphibians. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna fuck his friends because they're all really ugly. And I don't really have like enough insurance to like damage his car. Like I don't want to be on the hook for that because they would see that I'm black and they're like, take her away. It's like we can't do that. So I was like, you know what we gonna do, bitch? This is what we gonna do. We gonna get some frogs and we're gonna leave it in the apartment. So I called all of my friends that hadn't fucked him and was like, are you guys busy on a Wednesday night? And they were like, no, this is Amarillo, Texas. We're not doing anything on any night. I was like, great. So we went to the park. We all found the fattest toad that we could find and put them in, I believe, Hannah's mom's Tupperware. I'm sorry, Miss Denise. She never got that Tupperware back. But we put the frogs in his apartment while he was working that night as a busboy. And then we ran away. And it was like the most amazing feeling that I've ever had in my life. It's just getting revenge on an evil white man. I was like, this is amazing. This is like the most reparations I'll ever get in this country. So I was waiting for him to like freak out. I was waiting for that call about, Alani, why are there so many frogs in my house? He never called, right? So the next day I call him. He thinks I'm calling to apologize and that we're gonna have like hot makeup sex. I'm just going over there to retrieve the amphibians, but I don't tell him that. So I come over and he's like telling me, "Oh my God, Alani, I'm so sorry. I cheated on you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You were my melanated queen, and I just tossed you under the bus for some mayo sandwiches, and I'm so sorry." And I was like, "That's cool. Have you seen the frogs?" And he was like, "The the what?" And I was like, "The frogs. When you were at work yesterday, funny story. I came over and I left some frogs in here on accident, on purpose. Have you seen them?" And he was like, "If you are serious, I swear to God, if you're serious." And right at that beautiful, perfect moment, a frog jumped out of his closet. And I have never heard a man scream as high as he did. And it was just the most exhilarating moment. I was like, oh yeah, there's the frog. And he was like, Alani. And this man shot out of the apartment, called his mother, and said that I was committing acts of terrorism against him mentally. And I just took my time getting the frogs out of the apartment because he was like, I'm not coming in there until all those frogs are gone. And I was like, cool. So spent 2 hours getting rid of 5 frogs. It was great. I would do it again. That's my time. Thank you so much, Kendra. Bye, guys. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, let's give it up for Alani. That was,
Woo!
I loved those animal themed stories. Uh, Fuck your ex, the
Yeah.
ex that cheated on you with 6 friends. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, if you're gonna cheat on someone, if you're gonna be enough of a trifling ass bitch to cheat on someone, try to like go beyond the friend circle, right? Like, why do that?
Be creative. You know what I mean? My
Exactly.
God.
Exactly.
Reach
Yeah.
out. Find
Yeah.
someone else.
Yeah, like it's so possible to go somewhere else. But I don't know, men are trifling. I'm sorry you had to deal with that white man. I'm glad that he got frogs. I'm glad that like that's a beautiful revenge story.
Just don't get even. Just get an amphibian. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for that. That was incredible. Yeah, so Alani does have a show. She has her IG and Twitter. Follow her. She's great. I'm very excited to introduce the next guest, guest for performing for tonight. He's on podcasts. He does all sorts of things all over Boston, and he has a very cute kid. Please give it up for Kenny Capozzi.
Woo!
Yeah, Kitty.
Hey, what's up, everybody? White guys, woo! Sorry, Kendra, just had to. It was like, we had it good for a long time, but sometimes you do definitely deserve frogs. It seems like what a weird phobia to have. Like, I think that's really odd. I don't know. I'm just gonna. Last year I was working a lot. I was over at the casino whenever they built Encore. It's a good time, right? I was over there and we were doing a lot of hours, right? So it was just overtime after overtime, and I was working. So it was like a 5:30 start, I believe. So I have to get up around 4:30 in the morning, and I'd be out probably almost every night doing comedy. So my sleep was really not really good. Like about a year ago, Ricardo Perez had snapped a photo of me at the Midway, which is Angela's mic, and I was just fucking passed out. It's just like sometimes your body just shuts down, right? So it just shuts down. So what happened to me was one this time I woke up and I was in my bed, and it was just like beat, 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 and I'm looking around. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I just hear beat, 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 and I have all of these alarms set. So like if I don't get up at like 4:30, I get up at 4:04. You know what I mean? It's really, but none of them have vibration, and it's all just screaming music. And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. And it's just fucking constant, right? So I don't know, like what's the rudest way that you people have ever been woken up, but for me it definitely has to be like realizing I have a vibrator still in my ass, and it's just like, so now I have to think about like what the fuck was going on, right? And then it dawned on me, like I start to play it back, right? So I had this girl coming over my house, and I took a shower real quick, and I was like, we had it was like not the first time, but it wasn't like, the fucking 800th time that we had been together either. So, I want to, clear one out, make it good for a little while. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, fuck, I just, I went and, try to do that little play, you know what I mean? And just nothing. So I wake up and I'm like, oh, time is it, And I'm like, fuck, I think she should have been here by now, So I'm like, looking around, and there's like no sign. My front door is like unlocked. So I'm like looking, like, she's still here? Did she show up? You know what I mean? And so I'm like, bewildered, walking around my apartment, and I see a note, and it just says like, hey, I came by and you were passed out. We'll talk about this later. And I was just like, I was like, fuck. Like, I know this name of the show is Tales from the Inside. I just don't know if you thought it was going to be like about me. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's Tales from the Inside of Kenny Capozzi. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, we stayed fucking for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though that could have been like, for some ladies are all about equality. And then you're like, why does this guy have a vibrator in his ass? And it's just like, hey, why you gotta be like that? Don't king shame me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm having fun and I'm honest and open. So I just started seeing some other girl, and I'm like telling her the story because I don't give a fuck. I'm telling you people. Do you know what I mean? I find it funny. You know what I'm saying? So like, we drink a lot. I like to have a good time, and my sleep is still a little not that good, right? So So we're drinking one night, and things get hot and heavy, and we're in the bedroom. And then when I woke up the next morning, I guess I had just passed out like mid fellatio, and she was just like, I didn't know what to do, and I was just like, well, I mean, was I okay? Like, could you? And she was like, yeah, that was the problem. It was just like you were ready to go, but I couldn't, I felt awkward and weird to do. And I'm like, well, technically, I kind of consented before, you know what I mean? It really started, right? And I'm like, she just couldn't do it. She's like telling me the story the next morning. I just had to be like, well, at least I didn't fall asleep with a vibrator in my ass. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, because that really hurts when you wake up. It's like after a few hours of drying up in there, it's really like a fucking process. Like you gotta really, you gotta finesse that shit. I'm just saying, you gotta finesse it. So it's just like, that's where I'm at. We were talking about kids, and I'm gonna like go off the, like I'm homeschooling right now. Like full time. We're in Brockton, Massachusetts. They are not talking about even going back for another couple months. So it's just me and my son, and he's in the kitchen, and it's 6 hours a day from 9 a.m. until 3:15. I have to have Big Brother on the laptop looking throughout my house, and I feel like it's a little invasion of privacy for me. So, and he's a young kid, you know what I mean? Like you see kids getting busted with BB guns and Nerf guns and stuff like that. I don't need that kind of stress in my life, you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to catch a case for something just because this is how we're at right now, It's like before any of this started, right? Like if I had a day off from work or something, and it was just me, like my time, like this is my time, he's in school, right? This is my time. Like the worst thing I had to worry about, the worst thing was like, Kenny, it was just like, just don't be too drunk in the pickup line. You know what I mean? Like you just want to, I don't need to be, talk like, so now I'm like, I'll day drink. I'm not working. I'm fucking a teacher right now. I'm like, I'm a teacher. I'm the hall monitor. I'm tech support. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? And it's like all for nothing, you know what I mean? But that's like, I'm not trying to get political, people. I'm just saying, sometimes be day drinking, right? You know what I mean? So like now I don't have to worry about like being too drunk in the pickup line. Like now I have to worry about, am I going to be so drunk that I'm going to ask the teacher in the computer if she needs a drink right now? Because I'm sure she does, I'm sure she needs a drink. And it's just like, it's tough to do, it's tough to do. Just saying like, they got to go back. I feel like they have to go back sooner or later. And it's just a lot for me to deal with. But that's besides the point. Like, I feel like I learned a lot, like since he's been home during all of this, like I feel like I've learned a lot about myself and about our situation. Like what I also learned like was that my 10-year-old son, he also thinks I'm gay, which is like everyone else in my life, which is really, it's really, I'm upset. Not that he thinks that, it's just that he thinks like everybody else. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I thought he would think like outside of the box. Like I really thought he would think like outside of the box, and it's true, like he does. He thinks like I should be like totally outside of the box, right? And I'm just like, buddy, I had to come in a box, right? For you to come out of a box, I don't know how you people had the birds and the bees talk, with your parents or your kids, but evidently I didn't, and now my son thinks that babies come from FedEx delivery drivers who are trying to take down international child sex trafficking rings, I'm just saying that, you just say like, sex is like pizza, like even if it's bad, right? If you're a billionaire, like you can get one with like 13-year-olds, it's terrible. I know, like it's hard to hear the words out loud, right? And it's just like, it makes me wonder, it's just like, where am I at? It's like, is this the Eyes Wide Shut party? Like is the Comedy Studio sponsored by the Clinton Foundation? Like, I'm not really sure, I'm just trying to do the right thing by my child, that's all. That's what I'm trying to say. I'll do, again, after all of that, which is a lot, I agree it's a lot, right? I just wonder, like, how come doggy style is the only position I can fuck my dog in? Like, I'm just saying, you would think they learn new tricks, gobble gobble, little meatball, like, come on, buddy, roll over. Like, I'm trying to teach them like how to roll over and play dead, and then I'll fuck them, right? I gotta call it a Cosby, right? Just so like when I'm at the dog park and some fucking yuppie is like, hey, let's show him a trick, and I could be like, hey, let's show him the Cosby. My dog just comes over and like bends down with his ass up in the air, Is that too dark? I'm not sure. But it's Boston. I have a really, reputation, and we just have to keep it moving. But anyway, I'm Kenny Capozzi, and maybe you'll see that trick someday soon. Everybody, thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right, everyone, let's keep it going for Kenny Capozzi. Starting off talking about vibrator in the asses, and then ending with fucking dogs. That is a Kenny Capozzi move. I want to reiterate that here at the Comedy Studio, we are against pedophilia, whether it happens in pizza basements or on fancy people's plates. We don't like it. No more. We want the end of it. Don't know how effective Save Your Children is as a hashtag, because it seems to be mostly people being like, oh, a sex trafficking ring obviously is happening in this Ohio pizza place and not on the Epstein plane, but it's fine. But yeah, thank you so much, Kenny, for that. And we're gonna move on to our next comedian. He is based out of Cleveland, Ohio. He runs the Midwest Queer Comedy Fest. He does so much, so awesome. I'm very excited for him. Please give it up for Dwayne Duke.
Woo! Dwayne.
Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
1 second. I got it. Hi, can you see me? Can you hear me? I'm amazing. I'm very cute. Thank you for being here. I'm coming to you live from a hotel because I'm sick of everyone in my hometown. So I said I'm going to get on hotels.com and go find somewhere to be. So here I am at the beautiful DoubleTree in Dayton, Ohio. If you know anything about Dayton, they're famous for the Air Force and tornadoes. And I'm hoping to get hit by both tonight. Yeah, before the pandemic hit, I used to be a traveling comic. I traveled the whole country. Last year, around this time, I drove from Boston, Massachusetts, up to Seattle, Washington, and I did the long way. I went through the middle of the country, and I learned so much about the country. I learned that any city named after a person is where that person gave up. I learned a lot about myself. I learned how many hours in a car I can be alone before I no longer feel emotions. The answer is 9. I also learned that porn isn't based on anything in reality, because I was driving home from Reno, and there's only 5 cities between Reno, Nevada, and Omaha, Nebraska. It's 1,700 miles. There's 5 cities because they're the eastern border of every state. That's where those people were like, not doing it anymore. We're done. And I made it into Nebraska, and my tire, which was only like 9 years old, decided it was sick of my shit and exploded. It was sick of it. It was like, I'm done. Fuck you. We're out. And I pulled into a small town right off the highway at the exit, because the sign before that exit said next exit 40 miles, and I didn't feel like freezing to death in Nebraska. And I found a little gas station, and it was a Sunday, and there was just the sweetest old man there, and he was like, I can't do anything for you, but there's a town 30 miles this way. And I was like, do you think this donut is going to last 30 miles? He goes, if you go slow. So 2 hours later, I made it to this very small town, and I went to multiple stores looking for a tire. I was looking for a very used tire, because I was like, this is an old car. I'm not putting money in it. I would like to break even on this tour, and I can only spend about $12 to still break even. Yeah, like if I can get a tire for $12 and spend the rest of my gas money and not eat tomorrow, I can make it back to Cleveland in time to host this show for $25 and break even on tour. So if you're doing the math, that's 1,700 miles in 24 hours, break even. That's all you want to do. You just want to break even. So I go to the first shop and they don't have a tire my size. I go to the second shop, they don't have a tire in my size. And they're like, there's another shop and I can't find it because I'm in a town in Nebraska and I'm trying to use Google and they haven't been there yet. So I'm just driving around the town looking for the shop and I finally see an industrial barn. It's a very metal building, and it doesn't say tires or auto anything on the side. But I noticed that there's a stack of tires and a bunch of cars waiting. I was like, either I'll get a tire or I'll get murdered. One way or the other, this day's over. So I pull in and I call the number on the side of the building, and this guy answers, and we talk about the tire that I need. He goes, I think I have one. And I was like, all right, let's see. He goes, yeah, I've got one. Do you want to come? Do you want to come to the shop, or do you want me to come try and meet you? And I was like, funny story. I'm on the side of the building. So I pull around to the bay, and he opens the garage, and he helps me back in. And this is where I learned that porn isn't real, because now he's talking to me, and we're saying things to each other, and it sounds like the script of a porno. He's like, yeah, just back the thing on in here. Bring it on in. Bring it on in. Just pull in my garage. Come on, park right there. Oh, you got it. He goes, yeah, give me 2 minutes. I'll jack this thing up. I'll rip that off and we can get you on out here. And I was like, all right, cool. Then his dog comes running around and goes, Brady, don't sniff that. Quit licking it. That's mine. His dogs now chase me around the car, because I'm the first black he'd seen this decade out on the television. And this isn't like a small little wiry dude. He's like one of them big corn husking boys. He was raised by corn. He's big, he's burly, he's only wearing overalls with one strap undone. It's November. I'm freezing. He's not. I can see just the one little pert nipple, very white, very pink. You know what I mean? It's kind of hot. I was like, all right, okay. And then I watch him jack my car up, rip a tire off, put it back together, like a man. And then he turns to me and he goes, all right, give me a couple seconds. I'll drill this in, screw it on real tight, and we can get you on out of here. And I was like, you promise? I don't think he got it, but I did, and that's all that matters. I was like, at the end of this, do I have to fuck this guy to pay for it? Because it's a Sunday. I'm in Nebraska. I will. He's very attractive. He was somewhere between 23 and 45. He was one of those white guys that are aging well. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell, right? You're like, oh, right? Yeah. You've been to the gym this decade. I see it. Aging well. You don't stand in the sun. You might drink, but not every day. No beer gut. Very good for you. And he goes, yeah, coming back to my office, we can take care of payment. I was like, oh, fuck, daddy's getting laid. And then he whipped out a credit card machine, and I was like, shit, I got to pay for it too? I'm not sucking dick and paying for it. It's not 1988. So he let my car down, opened the garage door, I hopped back in, and I drove the rest of the way back to Cleveland. And I was in a festival the next night, and it was amazing. I never slept, because comedy's like that. It just teaches you things about yourself. It teaches you that you don't need sleep. Everything's okay as long as you're chasing your dream of $50 no hotel, $50 no hotel, $50 no hotel. Oh man. I got an email once, and it literally said, "You want to perform in a prison?" And I was like, "No, what? A prison? Are you out of your goddamn mind?" So I sent them back a quote of what it would cost to get me inside of a prison. And an hour later, there was a deposit in my checking account. Well, I am going to prison. I brought 6 of my friends. Because there was money in the budget to share. Everybody got a piece. There was a comma in this check. I think about it when I'm horny. I'm just like, check. Never a payday that makes you come 5 months later. That's a good check. We get to the prison the day of the show. We can't take anything inside because it's a prison. And of course, you can't take anything inside. They were like, all you can bring inside is $20. And I was like, for the gift shop? What am I going to buy inside the prison? We meet our escort. He's a man of size. He's a big boy. I have no problem with big people. Those are my friends, my family, my loved ones. However, if I'm going to a prison, I'm looking for a 6'4" ex-Marine covered in tattoos with a gun and a will to live. And this man had none of those things. He was, however, the best tour guide that Disney World ever lost because he's pointing shit out like we're planning on coming back. It was over here is our softball field. Over here is one of our mini exercise yards. Back over there, there's our housing pods where we keep them. Over there's the mess hall where we feed them. And I was like, you heard it's all a joke. Tell a goddamn joke. What? No cornhole? He goes, no, there's cornhole. And I was like, that was a butt sex joke, sir. You made it weird. So we're walking through the prison, and I've got all my friends within an arm's length away because like this might look like a man, but this is chocolate covered bitch. If one of them catches me, I just live inside of a prison now. And we get to the area where we're performing, and it's a brick wall. I was like, very 80s. You got my rider. But set up just to the right of where I'm performing, there is 3 guys working out, and they are very distracted because they are prison ripped. You know what I mean? Like they're the kind of hot, and you're like, no, I get it. Commit a felony. Come on. They're the kind of hot that they talk about at WAP. You know what I mean? They're like beat it up, man. Catch a charge, right? Yeah. And he did. You ever go to the pound to get licked by puppies? They're that kind of cute. They're like, you've done some horrible things, but I'm so glad you're still alive. You know what I mean? Right? And we're doing the show and it's going good. I get up, I tell my first joke, and it lands. And there's this wave of laughter. And I did it. I stepped back, I reveled in it because I did the impossible. I stepped into a prison and I pleased 1,900 men with just my mouth. I'm like, I didn't even catch any. The show's going okay. It's going good for a prison. You know what I mean? It is going really good for a prison. Like people are smiling, they're showing their teeth and their hands. I'm happy. Like no one's walking behind me, no one's got a shiv. I'm like, getting out alive today. It is a good time. I'm excited. I tell my last joke, and this large Aryan gentleman stands up and looks me in the face where I keep my emotions and put my food and goes, "Take off your shirt." And I was like, no.
Oh my God.
Okay, maybe. We all need an encore, right? All right, guys, I'm Dwayne Duke. Follow me on all the things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
Yeah,
All right, let's give it up for Dwayne Duke. That was hilarious. I have never been inside a prison, I'm pretty sure, unless there's like a night I don't remember in college, but I'm pretty sure I haven't been inside a prison. I will do jokes there. I don't know how. Am I allowed? I don't even think I'm allowed in a men's prison. I don't know. I mean, I do jokes in women's prison. I just expect it to be like Orange is the New Black. Like, oh, there's like some tons of witty dialogue, right? Like, oh, it's great.
Yeah,
that was
it's witty dialogue and people who are clearly sexually frustrated. The wildest part about that night is the guy told me that my face had been up in his pod for 2 weeks. He didn't come to the show, but he had seen my face, and I remembered what my headshot was at the time. I was in a black vest with a black tie and a white shirt. I was perfectly airbrushed all the way back to 24. And I was like linked over like this, just looking directly at the camera. And I look like a gayer magician. Like I look like at any point I could just bend over and pull a dove out my ass. And when he told me that had been up in his pod, I was like, oh, okay, so you've been jerking off to me.
Oh my God, yes, that's incredible. Yeah, I want tons of people in a prison to think I'm hot. I want to bring them joy. Like, prison sucks. Why not let them jerk off to me? You know, like that's very that's great of you. Thanks so much, Dwayne, for that amazing story. Also, the Nebraska story had me on the edge of my seat. I have never been to Nebraska. I don't know how many Black people are there. I'm sure it's like not zero, but I'm also sure it's like less than Boston, the amount of Black people. And Black people, like Boston has a few of us, but not, it's not Jamaica, So I'm very excited for our next comedian. He is hilarious. I am pretty sure he won the funniest comic in Massachusetts contest. That's how fucking funny he is. Please give it up for Liam McGurk.
Damn.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good, Liam?
Yeah. Right here. Okay, cool. All right, great. Yeah.
yeah.
You know, quarantine and stuff. Yeah, I'm disappointed because I felt like I was doing a lot of cool stuff. And then from quarantine, I'm really just trying to figure out how to kill time. Like, I listen to like a lot of YouTube videos now. I listen to too many YouTube videos. I almost listened to a 3-hour YouTube video called "Why Woody Allen is Innocent," but I did not listen to that because we're all adults and we're all very busy, and I feel like you really only have the energy to champion one or two causes. And so Woody Allen's Innocence, I don't want to like accidentally listen to that and then they make like 2 good points and then I have information in my head and then like I'm on the subway and I hear somebody say to their friend, Woody Allen's a monster, and then I think for a second and I'm like, actually, because and then they're like, what the hell, like did you get a PhD in Woody Allen? And they're like, no, I just watched one video and now the info's in my head. And yeah, I don't know. I've been playing a lot of poker. It started off like people hear that and they're like, hey Liam, that sounds like an addictive behavior. That sounds like you're just gambling. And oh shoot, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like it sounds like you're just gambling. And it's not true. It's a hobby, just like bird watching. Because you know how with bird watching, you hide it from your family? I was really of like anti-maskers. I was really critical of them. And then I realized that a lot of them, like a lot of people that want to open up this country just didn't want to live my dream of playing poker every night and living off the government. That was a great time. And then I realized like I felt like I had like some depression during quarantine. Like I got really sad because I felt like I was gonna age out of BDSM. Like I wasn't gonna be able to do it. I was like, I heard that usually the oldest somebody is 35. I'm 29, and I'm like, I'm running out of time. I didn't know I wanted to do this, but now I have to go to a munch. But I can't. Or I don't feel like I should. I don't feel like it would be safe. And I feel like when things open back up, just like a lot of people are gonna show up to BDSM meetings like me, like I never knew what I missed. And yeah, I don't know. I was just trying to figure out how to kill time. And then I'm definitely weirder. I'm definitely weirder after quarantine. I went into an engagement shop recently. Like I looked at engagement rings, and like I'm not getting married. Like this woman she showed me engagement rings for like 10 minutes, and I kept saying things about my wife, like she's 6'3", she needs a sturdy ring. And she talked to me for a long time. But the thing is, if I ever get married, I'm going to invite her because she's gonna be really happy for me, I think, and she'd want to be. That's what I went. I was just doing weird shit. Like I went to a car dealership and told them I wanted a car with the lowest safety rating, and that my sister, like I was like my sister got paralyzed in a Dodge Charger, and like I want to also be like that, like live like she lived. It's up to God who lives. One time I was shirtless at a quinceañera. Okay, so it was an unseasonably warm day in February. So me and my girlfriend at the time went to a park in like bathing suits. It was like 70 degrees in February. we're getting like the golden parts of global warming, where stuff sometimes is just really fun. Like, damn, it is March 3rd and it is the most beautiful day outside. But then like this quinceanera came over, so I was just like shirtless watching this girl become a woman, and felt really underdressed. Thankfully, I was wearing purple pants. All right, that's my time. Thank you.
All right, let's keep it going for Liam. Thank you, Liam. Wait, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure I was talking.
Sorry about
that. Man, I don't think I've ever been shirtless at a quinceanera, but that's I mean, quinceanera in the park also sounds like pretty cute. It sounds pretty like nice.
It was very nice.
Yeah, right. I definitely feel like some of the parts, like right now, we're getting like the cool parts of global warming. Like we're not getting like mass societal collapse or like end of crops, right? We're getting the like, oh, it's a nice day in January, and then one day corn won't exist and all the birds are gonna like crash into our cars. But right now,
yeah, some of our best memories are gonna be 5 years before the mass extinction.
basically. But you're right about bird watching though. When you said, yeah, like bird watching, you hide it from your family. Like poker, you hide from your family. Like I commented like, oh my God, the Audubon Society is shaking. But they also know that birds aren't real. Birds are a lie made up by the Audubon Society to sell big bird seed. All right, that is the truth. I read about it or I watched it on a YouTube video.
No, it's true. Did you know every time you see a bird, they're actually just throwing a squirrel across your eyes?
Fuck.
It's true. There's one dude from the Audubon Society just chucking a squirrel
Yeah.
through the air.
They have videos like showing this. Just
Liam's really been pulled into like deep YouTube. All right, everyone.
The channel's called Independent Media. It's very good.
It's really independent. Yeah, media is lying to all of us, obviously. I don't actually believe that in case my employer sees. So we have one last comedian for the night. I'm very excited to introduce them. They are out of Chicago. They have an awesome little comic called Sober Rabbit that is on Instagram. Their Instagram handle will also be in like the bottom and stuff. Please give it up for Whitney Wasson.
Hey everybody, I'm still laughing about the squirrels. Sorry, that really fucking got me. Y'all are idiots. We've had a lot of good stuff on the show. I feel like there's been butt stuff, frog revenge, prison, a lot of conspiracy theories. I'm still laughing about shirtless at a quinceanera too. That's fucking amazing. I'm so bored and so relieved to see people that aren't my husband. So I'm just like the #1 best audience member. And then I remembered, oh shit, I'm doing this shit. So yeah, I had planned to tell kind of a heartwarming family story because I wasn't really sure what the audience would be. But since I'm literally telling it to comedians, then I'm just going to go as blue as I can because fuck it.
It's streaming somewhere, but you should still do what you want.
Oh yeah, so no F words. I just said 3.
You could literally curse. You could do whatever you want. People are watching.
Yeah, well,
even if they're not.
It's on Facebook.
Just letting you know there is an audience.
Oh yeah. I don't know if that's like a warning or encouragement. But I'm gonna talk about chlamydia tonight. Are we cool with that? That's just
hell yeah.
Okay, awesome. I feel like these comedians know what's up. But for people who are watching, I just want to get out of the way now. I'm sober now, I'm monogamous now, and I'm married now. Okay, so think about that while I'm telling the story. I've cleaned up my act. I'm a better person now. But back before the world was paused and I was still a road comedian like these monsters on the show with me, I sort of lived the rock and roll lifestyle. I I did drugs. I slept with randos in various locales. Oh, Dwayne, you reminded me the last time I was in Nebraska, I got in an Uber and I sat on a gun. But that's another story. So, in Omaha, Nebraska. So anyway, I was a wild road comic and I had this bad habit of occasionally dating groupies. But something that remained consistent with me is that I'm a serial monogamist, which if you don't know what that is, it's like being a serial killer, except you're killing one person slowly over several years. I would do that. And when I wasn't doing that, I would have this like huge like breakout slutty period. So it would be like a relationship that lasted several years, slutty period, relationship that lasted several years, slutty period. And these would just like amp up in severity and badness, you know, as I got older and more of an alcoholic and drug addict. So I was having a particularly crazy time because I just gotten out of a relationship. And I do that thing that you do when you're a drug addict comedian, which is you occasionally sleep with a few people without wearing a condom. Mom, if you're watching this, just turn it off right now. Sometimes when my parents watch my shows, Mom, turn it off right now. So anyway, I had had a really bad breakup. I had slept with a couple people. And then I got a text from my most recent ex that was kind of panicked. And he was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I know that this is poor form. But I definitely have chlamydia and you definitely have chlamydia and you should probably get checked up on that. So because I was a trash fire at the time, I hadn't gotten tested after our relationship. I had just slept with a couple people like you do. And these are the people that I had slept with who I would need to tell about the chlamydia. One, a Tinder hookup, which is fine, totally normal, go figure, that's what you're supposed to do with them. The other person that I had slept with was my best friend in comedy, who I hosted shows with and was like super good friends with, and was about to move to Chicago with. So, Tinder hookup, not that big a deal. My dear best friend who we had slept together on one drunken night that didn't mean anything, that was later very embarrassing. We did a show in Little Rock. We were having a hard time. So I knew that telling him was going to be kind of awkward because we were about to move from Arkansas and live together in Chicago. So I had to be like, sorry about that time that we had the drunken hookup, dude, all those Jaeger shots. Also, I gave you chlamydia. Also, do you still want to get an apartment with me? But not to get ahead of myself. So I knew that I could comfortably tell the Tinder hookup first. So I did that. And I texted this guy. And I don't know if y'all have ever sent a text message and then you're like so anxious to see the response. Like that's kind of me every time because I'm neurotic. So like I sent this text message. I expected him to like read it, be pissed off, and then like maybe hit me up later. But the minute I sent the text message, I saw the little dots going like he was typing. And I was just like, great, wonderful, awesome. And so I said, I sent him a text that said like, hey, we hooked up, you might have chlamydia, sorry about that. This dude texts back immediately with, well, that's a big old bummer. And then before I could say anything else, though, he just goes, no worries, dude. It happens. Champ, #1 champ. Dude is incredible. He's the best. So I got that out of the way. But in the midst of all of this, I was also doing something that I had to do frequently, which was visit the free clinic to get all of this taken care of. So I wanted to do that, and then I wanted to tell my friend. So I was going to the free clinic, and at the time I lived in Fayetteville, Arkansas, which is a gross college town. I don't know how else to explain it. Yeah, Dwayne's been there. He gave some people chlamydia there, I'm sure. So anyway, I go to this free clinic because, again, that's where my tax bracket is. So I go to this free clinic, and I hadn't been in a while, and I totally forgot that the way the free clinic was set up was there's like OBGYN stuff on one floor and then like, other services as you go up. So when I walk in, I'm literally the only hungover young person in there. Everyone else in there is either teen moms or women who have just had their babies. So it's a bunch of pregnant teenagers or like grown women with their shit together holding their babies. So I like, just push down my terrible self-esteem and I go up to the window and I'm like, excuse me, I think I've been exposed to chlamydia and I just kind of need the medication and it's like not a big deal and I don't have insurance and I've done this before, so could you help me out? And the lady was like, through the glass, she's like, I'm sorry, honey, I can't hear you. Can you say that louder? I swear to you. So I had to go, I have chlamydia. I'm sorry, I have chlamydia. Can I get some pills for it, please? Sorry. And she was like, oh, honey, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you before, but you're actually going to have to go upstairs to the inoculations clinic. So not only had I told like every young mom and child in the place that I was a terrible person, I had to go to a different place to do that. So I go upstairs, and the second floor is the like inoculations clinic, basically where you get all your shots for school. So this second little tiny lobby was full of exclusively young frat guys who were there to get their shots so that they could be admitted to the college. So great, even better. So I walk in there, hungover, older, just looking like a failure, and I go up to the window and I'm like, hey, chlamydia pills, because at this point my heart was dead. And they were like, oh, honey, we're so sorry, but we are fresh out of chlamydia medication. I swear to you, Fayetteville is so disgusting that most of the frat guys that had already been in school had used it up. So I wound up having to go to a totally different clinic to get this medication. And it actually worked out okay. But at that clinic that I went to, the thing that I remember the most about it was that this nurse told me, it's really nice that you're getting checked out, and it's really nice that you're getting shots. People, you know, go about this differently. Like sometimes people have problems and they don't even go to a doctor. There's this guy that comes into the clinic every week to get tested because he doesn't wear condoms, which kind of blew my mind. So this guy's birth control and reproductive health was never using a condom, but just going and getting shots every week. So I got a shot in the ass, which is sort of how I got into this whole mess. Yeah, so that worked out. So once that was done, I knew that I had like, you know, the wherewithal to tell my friend. So the other thing that I forgot to mention is that we were like not minutes, but we were like days away from getting on a mega bus to go check out our apartment in Chicago. So not only was I gonna like tell him this, we were gonna then like have a 16 or 18 hour on the mega bus to Chicago moment to think about it. So anyway, I told my friend, and I was really embarrassed, and he was really embarrassed. He's like not the type to hook up, hardly a drinker. It was a total fluke thing. And I told him, and he had a laugh about it, and it was actually okay. But the funny thing about that is that he found out that he was actually allergic to the chlamydia medication. So not only did he do exactly what I did, which is go to the two wrong floors of the free clinic, he had to go to an entirely different clinic, had an allergic reaction to the medication, had to go get a different kind of medication to feel better. And then we got on the mega bus to go to Chicago. So me and my friend and our other friend got on this bus, and we were like, you know, my friend, I'm not going to name any of these people because they're saints and I'm terrible. But so we get on this bus, and all was well. You know, we'd forgotten about how all that went, and things are cool. But I shit you not, I had been sitting on the bus for about 30 minutes when I got a text from my ex who had told me about the chlamydia. Now, because I still have it, it's that important to me. I just want to read you verbatim the text message that this guy sent me. Okay. So again, this is the mild-mannered father from Memphis that gave me the chlamydia. So this is what the message said. He said, hey, lots of Y's. I got bad info, and I actually don't have chlamydia, but I assumed I did because Chicky from November texted me and said she must have gotten it from me. So I got tested, but I texted you before I got the results, and I assumed I had it, and I wanted you to know as soon as possible. And they said it would take 3 to 7 days, and I called on the 8th day, and they called me back as if it's everybody else's fault. And they called me back and said I was clear, and I told them, this girl said I must have given it to her, and they said no. So of course, this is the first time in history someone was weirded out by not having a disease. I tend to overthink things, and I figured you took care of it and was extraneous to tell you, but my counsel suggested that I did it anyway. Hope it didn't cause too much of a stir. Super apologies. So to recap, I think that I'm patient zero. I tell everybody in Fayetteville. I have the chlamydia mishap at the free clinic. I go to a different clinic, pay for it. I tell my friend, you know, he has all these mishaps with the medication. Now I'm sitting on the mega bus with him and my other friend. I find out that it's not real. So the next part of this is that I had to decide whether or not to tell him. because it occurred to me that while we're driving to Chicago on this long trip, I could just like not say anything, right? Like I could just like, we did the good thing, you know, we were responsible, we went to the clinic, we got it taken care of, we were better friends, our friendship had grown. But I actually texted my friend that we were on the trip with first, and I told her, and then she was like, no, that's hilarious, you have to tell him. So I texted him from elsewhere on the bus because we weren't sitting together. And like on the back of the bus, I could just hear him dying laughing about all of this. So it actually totally worked out. And the phrase super apologies became a running gag on the trip. And we moved to Chicago. We found an apartment. It's 5 years later. I'm sober, STI free, and married. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, that is beautiful. Thanks so much, Whitney. That was an amazing story. I love how responsible you were for no reason. In fact, I mean, like you were responsible for a reason, but that reason winded up being fake.
Yeah, kind of. It's like there was like a little bit of good judgment like sprinkled throughout, but like not a whole lot.
Yeah, but I mean that is what most people should do if they think they've been exposed to STI, instead of being like, oh, like I'm just gonna blame like women for not like getting my penis checked out, you know, like instead of being like, oh, like it's fine that like my dick is leaking pus. You just have to deal with it, you know? So you did great. You did amazing. So that is our last performer of the night. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this, for being here. All of them had amazing stories. I was riveted. I was taken through prison, Nebraska, chlamydia, frogs, duct taping cats. It was excellent. Thanks. And this show is every week. I am the special guest host. We usually have Angela Sawyer, who is also excellent. And there are new comics every week. So come back next time. Thanks so much for being here.
Ooh, pizza's here.